Morning, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Happy Monday. As we transition from June to July, sorry about Friday. It's great to be back with you right now. We're talking about this concept of the cookie jar, if you remember. Effort, living a life that's inner. Some of the hard parts of being able to grapple with this world and see it for what it is versus what it's not. One of the challenges that we encounter when you are trying to change your perspective is, what are you aspiring for? Right? How do you balance the world around you when you're trying to be an inner person? So my friend Shahryar Sedge sent me a clip of Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was, he should rest in peace, was one of the greatest NBA players of all time. And he was interviewed somewhere. And he spoke about what he used to achieve his level of greatness. And I was blown away by it, because in many ways, what we're talking about from a spiritual perspective, he was understanding from a sort of a basketball perspective. He was asked at an event, are you a type of player that hates to lose? Or are you a type of player that loves to win? You hear that question? What drives you? Do you hate losing? Or do you love winning? Now, if you're with me, you can almost see that question for what it is. It's the same thing. It's just, how do you like to exert yourself over the environment around you, right? Notice that question is the same question. As you exert yourself over your environment, as you try to make results work for you, are you doing it because you hate bad results or because you love good results? But in both situations, you're results driven. And he says, neither. And the interviewer was like, oh, I didn't know that neither was an option. And the whole place goes quiet for a second. And I'm like, oh, I love this. Even though he said it, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is why Shahryar sent this to me for sure. Neither. Do you hate losing or love winning? Neither. He just like lets it hang for a second. He says, because if you love winning or hate losing, it's the same thing. You're both going to be off. Listen to this. If you want to win, or if you hate to lose, you're both at risk. You're at risk because you're putting undue pressure on yourself. So he says, failure is really just a figment of your imagination. Because failure necessitates it to be over. The only time that you actually fail is if it's over. So if you're playing a game of basketball and you lose the game, but at the end of the game, you can learn things about yourself to improve on yourself, and then you get better as a basketball player. Well, did you win or did you lose in the game? That team scored more points, but did you lose? If now you gained valuable information that you're going to put into practice and you'll be a better person. Yeah, less people cheered for you. No one handed you a plastic trophy. But if in the loss, you got more information as to how to grow, and if you would have won, you would have gotten less information. Is that a win or is that a loss? I was on the phone a couple of days ago with somebody, and they were talking through challenges in their life. And it dawned on me that the challenges that they're grappling with in life is because when they were younger, they were incredibly privileged. They were privileged kids. They had an enormous amount of resources and wealth. They were very popular. Like the young parts of their life, like from age 0 to like 20, like everything was going for them, like an incredible measure. And now 20 years later, they're struggling in part because they never struggled when they were younger. So if you would go back in time and tell that kid, what if you didn't live in a community that your family built? What if you lived in a new community and you had to go into a new school and make new friends? You would have lost, if you will, but now you would have gained the muscle that you would have won. So winning and losing really is based on when you stop playing. So you can lose a game, but that could be the best thing that happens to you. So the interviewer said, okay, tough guy, Mr. Philosopher. Really? Yeah, okay. How about this? She asks him without any of my commentary. She goes, oh, so you're saying that had you finished your career without winning a championship, you'd be happy with that? Kobe Bryant like gives her a look like, really? You're philosophizing with me? All right, let's do this. Of course, none of this actually happened. This is all going on in my head. And the conversation happened, but none of the commentary. He says, actually, I'd be disappointed that I didn't win a championship because, but if you think about it, why do you win championships for? It's how you communicate with your teammates. It's how you empower other people. It's how you work on yourself. There's like a bunch of basic values that if you would apply them, you would have been successful at them. The fact that I didn't win a championship must have been because I didn't apply the principles of greatness. And so, yeah, I would have been disappointed I didn't win a championship, but I would have had all of that as I moved to my next part of my career. And I would have gone into business and taken all the things that I learned from failing at not achieving the championship and now applied them to, and I would have been more successful at business. So would I have won or would I have lost? You hear the distinction? Do you hear what's going on in the mind of one of the greatest basketball players of all time? In many ways, it's what we've been talking about. He's just using it in the physical world. We're taking it to a deeper source. But it's very intuitive and very insightful for where we're driving towards. What he's saying is that results really don't matter. Results only matter as indicators of where I need to put my effort in order to become better at the next stage of my life. The only time results matter is if you stop playing the game of life. If you can't transfer the values past the thing that you're in, then results matter. If you learn nothing from growing up, except for you didn't or did have something, then yeah, it matters because you look back at your life and say, wow, I don't have any lessons to learn about who I was. So I did or didn't succeed at this thing. I look back at my academic career and I don't have any lessons to take away from my ability to study and not study and to learn and not learn. All I really have is, did I or didn't I get into the school of my choice? Did I or didn't I get into the high school or academic institution? And this is a very big deal because for some of us, we live in a world where the schools that you go to define you. Some people live in a world like this, where you go to high school, college, post-college, sometimes religious schools, that's who you are. That goes, if you will, on your resume for life. And people don't know how to value you, so they go back and they look to where you went to school. And when that's the life you live in, then yeah, the result of either getting it or not getting it starts to define you. But if you can look at why you did or didn't get into something, if you remember we talked about last week, why you didn't or didn't win the gold medal, why you won or lost something, and you say to yourself, I'm not done living. And this isn't going to matter in 20 years. There's stuff here There's a treasure trove of valuable information that I'm getting, sometimes only seeing when I lose. That's going to make me a bigger and better person. When you can look at life and say, the results that I'm getting are only there to bring up areas of my life that I could exert more effort into. And that becomes the reason why we do what we do. We can have goals. And if we achieve our goals and people clap for us and give us the things that we want, great. We can enjoy them and appreciate them. We don't need them, because the greatest goal in our life is the evolution of self. See, this is where the whole "you're on a mission from God" thing is really critical. If you grow up in this world without a recognition that there's something more than yourself, if you grow up in this world and you don't feel that there's something more to you than the world around you, then life is a game of just collecting results. But if you grow up in this world and you sense that there's something more to life than the world around you, there's something bigger. I'm here for a purpose. I'm here for a mission. What's inside me is so much greater than what's around me. And my goal is to bring out me. My goal is to give expression to my soul. My goal is to, if you will, leave everything on the field. Those who ever played sports before, you understand this distinction of what you feel like when you walk off the field and you've given everything. If you walk off a field or off a court and you've given everything, the scoreboard becomes less relevant. I know in that moment you want to win or you want to lose, but if you feel in your core you've done everything, it's not just on a court, it's in life. You've done everything. You've pushed yourself beyond what you thought. There's a certain sense of comfort that you have because you deep down know the only reason why you're here is to bring out the best of yourself. And if you've brought out the best in yourself and that situation didn't happen, there's this like inner knowledge that says there's nothing more you could have done. It's okay. Regret, if you remember, we speak about this woman, Bonnie Ware, who wrote the book on regret because she's a end of life nurse. Regret is not, I lost. Regret is I didn't do everything I could have done. There was more in me. That's what regret is. Regret isn't, if had I done this right, it would have worked out. That only makes sense when you believe you could have done more. But if you've done everything, there's a sense inside you of, I've done my part. I wish it would have been better, but I've done my part. That sense comes from this understanding that we have, all of us, whether we know where it comes from or not, whether we can tie it to a source or not. This sense that we have, which is my goal in this world really is to bring out the most in me, is to bring out the best that I have, to exert myself beyond what I thought was my perceived limitations. I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. Even when we get rewarded for things that we didn't do, it doesn't feel right. I remember years ago reading about, I forgot the details of this. It's so long ago, an African-American soldier who was in some very elite battalion who went through terrible racism, who ended up saving someone's life. But the commander wouldn't give him the award because he was African-American. And he gave it to his partner, although everybody knew that the partner didn't do what this soldier did. And he gave the award to this partner. And at the end, the partner says that the only person that was heartbroken was me, meaning the African American wasn't heartbroken. He knew he did everything he could. His white partner, who didn't deserve it but got the award, was heartbroken because he had now achieved the result that wasn't him. And we know that's not why we're here. We know we're not here to fake it. That's why so many people end up changing their careers in the middle of their lives. You see this all the time. People with very prestigious jobs quit and they do things that they love doing. They were like the partner at like some fancy accounting firm, and they quit because they want to be a photographer. And being a photographer doesn't give them the prestige or the money that being this fancy partner was, but they don't care because they're getting older and they want to be them. They want to be them. And they love photography. And maybe they have the ability now because they worked when they were younger. And I'm not suggesting to not take your financial responsibilities seriously. I'm suggesting that I'm just trying to get to a place that each of us wants, which is the ability to bring out us into this world. And even if we're doing good things, we want to do good things that is the expression of us. Because in our core, what gives us the greatest satisfaction in life is when we take the soul that is within us and we bring it out into this world with all of its creativity and with its weaknesses. That's why when people have these weaknesses or challenges, it's hard to hold it in. You got to share it with somebody. As someone says, half of the reason why people go to therapy is just for someone to talk to about these things. Just talking about their challenges is cathartic that way. And that's where we're going with this, which is when you live a results-driven life, you frustrate yourself because you fall into a certain environment and have to adapt the environment to achieve a result. But if you're really after something deeper, then the environment that you're in is at the end. The environment that you're in is just the medium to give you the clues that will then enable you to understand yourself in a deeper way, to work on yourself, to become the best version of you. That's what I meant last week when I said sometimes when you lose, you win. When you're getting to a point in your life where you're so clear, or you're clearer with you, with what you are growing with, the games that you see people play become less relevant. There's a fight going on about, who's beating who and what result. You start to watch it and go, I don't need that. I don't need that. I even look back at my own life, some of the things that I cared so much about. As you get older, let them win. It's good for them. You don't need to win at certain things. Not that I'm anywhere near where I want to be in life. But that's where we're going now. But I want you to come on this journey with God's help together. This idea that the only time you lose is when you stop playing. Because everything that happens to you is clues for how to get better. And as long as you don't stop playing, you never lose. And as long as the game is expression of self, every day, win or lose, you learn something that can help you bring another piece of yourself out. That's where we're going. All right, everybody. Looking forward to the week. With God's help. Hope everybody's enjoying summer And thanks for being here today. With God's help, I cannot wait. See you again tomorrow. Have a great day.